I invested in Shiba? Welcome to Dow Stock Talk, where I talk about topics relating to investing and finance, but more specifically the stock market. In this video, I'll be going over a very speculative investment I made, Shiba, a meme coin. I know, it's kind of crazy. But before we get started, make sure you smash the like button because it helps the YouTube algorithm. It helps YouTube know that this quality content and help my videos reach a broader audience. And also, if you're a big fan of finance and investing t-shirts, make sure you check out my store, Wall Street Stock Apparel, where I make custom finance and investing t-shirts. I invested in the Shiba coin. In this particular video, I'm gonna be telling you what the Shiba coin, how much I invested, and why I particularly chose to put some money into this very speculative play. Now, most of the time on my channel, I focus on long-term investing and less speculative stuff, borderline gambling. But in this particular video, occasionally I do endeavor in small portions, extremely small portions of my portfolio in very speculative, borderline gamble things. Pretty much things that are heavily based off of potential current events happening and less with the fundamentals of, in this case, the cryptocurrency or the value that it would bring to society. The last speculative coin that I invested in was Dogecoin. I actually, like I said, I bought it as a joke. It was a meme coin. It was, at that time, it was a third of a penny. I only had one logic behind it. You know, it's the cheapest coin on Robinhood. It seems super cheap, even though they had 133 billion of them and they can mine more. But I just figured, hey, it's the cheapest thing on here. And if it appears to be cheap, a lot of other people might think the same thing. And if it ever blows up, I'll do pretty well. And if you want, you can check out the Dogecoin video to see how that is. But okay, now Shiba coin, it's similar to the whole Bitcoin mystery thing. So apparently the person that invented it is Yoshi. I hope I pronounced that right. But anyway, it's supposed to be Dogecoin rival. They call it the Dogecoin killer. So this particular coin is, like I said, a meme coin, experimental, spontaneous coin that they end up coming about. And it has been gaining some attraction, meaning as far as market cap or as cryptocurrency, it's in the top 32 as far as the largest market cap. Now, the thing about the Shiba coin, they made so many of these. So they made about, I want to say 1 quadrillion of these coins, and I think 50% of it was burnt and stuff. I'm not like a crypto expert or something like that, but I do know they said like 50% of it was burned. But I mainly focus on the circulating supply, which is 394 trillion. Like, that's a lot. And that's why I explain why these coins are, you can buy these coins for super cheap. I think right now you can buy them for 0.00006 of a penny. Of course, it fluctuates. I'm sorry, 0.00006 of a penny. Like I said, so many of these out there. So in that case, just to give you a rough estimate, you could buy 1 million of these coins for $10. I know it's got it super crazy. And I figured, hey, with especially the crazy things going on, all you need is a little traction, cryptocurrency to get popular again, and then the fear of missing out. And these particular coins could end up going up. Like I said, it's one of my speculative gamble plays. So instead of going to the casino, I just kind of invest in some of these very speculative things. But like I said, speculative. If you want to know the difference between investing and speculative, make sure you check out my suggested videos. And also speculating versus trading, you can also check out my suggested videos. And just to give you put things into context, the total GDP of the whole world, cost of goods that's sold, is about 84 trillion. And they have 394 trillion of these particular coins. The total amount of market cap in the stock market is about 25 trillion. For gold, it's 10 trillion. So just to kind of give you a sense of how big that particular number is. Now with Dogecoin, like I said, there's only 133 billion versus Shiba, which is 394 trillion. But yet, so that's really a big difference. In order for Shiba to hit $1, the market cap, total money invested, would have to be $394 trillion, which when we know the total GDP of the world is right now 80, let's just say about 85 trillion. And for the total GDP, cost of goods and services in the United States, it's about 22 trillion. And actually the total crypto market overall at its all-time high was at 2.5 trillion. So the fact that this is going to get to 394 trillion, a dollar, is probably highly unlikely, not unless we print out tons and tons of money, which everything else would be high enough and it wouldn't even be that big of a deal. But you know, the goal is for it to potentially get, even for it to potentially get to a penny, but you never know. We've seen some crazy stuff happening. I like to compare market caps. If you want to check out my video, stock price doesn't matter, you'll pretty much see why. So I normally compare market price relative to other industries and things just to get an idea of how realistic I think it can be. So there is a little bit of research that involved, but like I said, at the end of the day, it's purely speculative. It's all about possible events, possible trends, yeah, that. So right now, Shiba has a market cap of about 2.5 billion. Now, I was thinking if it gets to it can get from 2.5 billion to 25 billion. I think that's very realistic. After Dogecoin took a major hit, it's at 25 billion right now. From Dogecoin high, it got all the way up to $93 billion. So to see this coin go, the Shiba coin go from 2.5 billion to 25 billion, I think that's very well possible. That would be a 10x return, 1,000%. In order for it to hit a 10x return, it would be 0.0007 to me, which is very realistic. Speaking if it get onto those major platforms that I mentioned, like eToro, Robinhood, Webull, a few good tweets and stuff like that, it's very well possible. It is speculative, and especially if it get on those platforms, I definitely think it can go much higher, maybe 50, 60, 70, and even 80 billion. Never really know. Like I said, its previous high, it made it to 14 billion. So even if it can get from the 2.5 to 15, that's probably much like a 5x return. That's about 500% from the previous, just to get to the previous high. And this, you know, from the probability is very well possible. And so it doesn't even have to get to a penny or something like that to get a decent amount of returns. And even if it, let's just say, even if it took 5 years for it to get there, that's still an average return of 200%. The S&P 500 average return is 10%. So that has huge upside. Yeah, it's meaningless and it could go to zero, yeah, but it still does have a huge upside. And it is very well possible for this to particularly happen. And one of the other reasons why I chose this one and not the other ones, well, of course, there's so many others, like so many others, you never know. But because this one, to me, it's gotten enough traction where it can make it onto major platforms. Now, like I said, this is all speculative. This is all speculative. So to me, it made it to the point where it's one of the coins that, as far as probability, is much higher compared to the others to get to main platforms. Because on Shiba, you can get it on Binance now, Voyager, I hope I pronounced that right. You can start to get Shiba on a lot of platforms, and to me, the easier access it is to get to the masses, the more likely it is to catch the trend. Now, these things have not happened yet. If the Shiba coin could get in on Robinhood, I definitely think it'd go way above that 13, 25, and even probably 50. It's very well possible if you can get it on Robinhood. Robinhood is pretty much key, but eToro, Coinbase, and Webull, if they can get it on those particular platforms and the crypto market starts to go in the bull run, it definitely, if it can get on Robinhood, it would be major, because then it would be the cheapest coin. No longer would Dogecoin be the cheapest, and people can, if you can bid millions and billions for like 10 to 50 or $100, like a lot of people will be like, hey, you know, if this ever goes to $1 million, even though it's probably, you probably likely get struck by lightning twice, but hey, I will be a millionaire. So the whole concept, the psychological aspect to me could be why I could potentially get there, you know? Look at, you've seen the crazy things with GameStop and AMC and all types of things that, you know, people decided to make value. So that's why I'm making a speculative play in Shiba. To know how much roughly I have about, let's just say, close to 36. I want to say give or take maybe 36 million of these. It's not that in layman's dollars, let's just say maybe $200-300 or something like that. But if I get a 10x, it could turn to 300 to 3,000. My ultimate goal is maybe to, yeah, probably maybe a couple $100 or something in it. Like I said, very small play, speculative. And you know, I might buy some here, some there. Kind of normally spread it out because you know, these coins will fluctuate a lot all the time. But like I said, that's my play. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think about Shiba? If you haven't already, hit the like button. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe to my channel.